All right, we are back. It was a quick 10-minute break in between the Big Ten stream. So if you missed that one and you're just tapping in with us on Paid for Play on Daily Bread Media on YouTube, you already know we're coming at you live with all the conference tournament previews. We have a plus 900 in action from last Monday's stream. We have other futures in action as well. Steven has a Bellarmine one. So you already know. If you need some little long shots, you want some little lunch money, whatever the hell you want to do, we break down the conference tourneys from the bottom team to the top team for if you should be fading them, crossing them off, who's going to be in the semis, your best matchup in the tournament. We're all into the big ones at this point on Daily Bread Media. So make sure to give us that like on YouTube. We appreciate that. And if you guys are already watching us on Twitter, hop over to YouTube so we can feature your comments. You can drop your best bets, your favorite plays for this conference tournament. Who's big frauds? Is the ACC going to help Coach K get Duke there? Because Duke, they're the only minus favorites in this whole tournament. So we might have a lot of good action to fade them. Like, retweet, follow. You already know what it is. It's the four usuals from Paid for Play on Sundays without our main man Goose. But he just put in his time with the Big Ten preview. Sosa, you're the new joiner. They just heard Steven and Spin talk. They don't want to hear them anymore. What is up?
Man.
I know we got people's favorite conference, so.
You know why I really pulled up? It's really just to just laugh at the fact that people thought that we actually gave a fuck that the mascot at Duke was retiring. Like, who gives a fuck? Like, they were talking about he's the fucking mascot. He's gone. Good riddance. Fuck that guy. I'm a North Carolina fan, obviously. I got on Paid for Play earlier in the day and told y'all that we were going to cover. Obviously, I didn't have us, winning like that, but I'll take it just because it's an awesome narrative to push and an awesome agenda. And here we are, conference tournament time. I was talking to Rex earlier, and I was like, all these rankings, numbers, everything we're looking at today is going to be completely different in a week. Like, nothing that we're looking at today is going to matter because there are guys there are teams that just played their way out of the tournament just by not making it just by not winning the championship in their conference. So, I'm really, like I said, I'm really just excited about the season, about this part of the year, and I'm excited to see if Boeheim can do what he always does: win 2 games in the ACC tournament and have us thinking if they're really going to be in,
Well, this just has 15 teams, which is always fun when conferences have odd numbers. And the one thing I just want to get off the bat, other than Sosa's Duke rant, which I know that won't be the first or the last of the stream. Can they please change the court? I wonder if they're going to have that terrible green-looking court that they do every single season. There's no conference tournament court like Memphis's Blues, kind of rough. Arkansas State's, whatever. Northern Illinois is the tough one. But, this ACC court's the worst for TV. But you already know. I wouldn't say this is hard as a gauntlet as the Big Ten is, just because the top here maybe is not as strong. But when we're rattling through the top odds that we got here, you got Duke listed at minus 135, and then you take a huge jump, which seems not irresponsible, but UNC all the way at plus 750. So the books are basically giving you, if anyone wants to take a flyer, anyone takes fun money, the ACC is your time to do it, because then you get Wake Forest, who's a 5 seed, extra games, plus 950. Notre Dame, plus 1,000. No respect to the 2 seed. Once again, just like we saw in the Big Ten. Virginia Tech, plus 1,300. And then Miami, plus 1,300. And then all your other odds are right around that range, all the way to Boston College and Pitt at the bottom. Oh, this is a tough one to write anybody off, is it? I mean, did anyone pencil any team off from a wise? Or you can go skill-wise, numbers-wise. Who did they cross off and they want no business backing because they're going to lose in the first game, where the odds are just too poor for you to back, even though you're getting pretty good odds for each team?
Steven? I'll go.
Oh, Spin. Go.
No, that's fine. I was just so bottom three for sure for me: Boston College, Georgia Tech, NC State. Uh, all of these teams are just horrific metrically, and really just with the number of games you have to win, with the gauntlet you have to run. Um, I've been also burned way too many times on the side of each of these teams. Every single one of them is sub 200 in EFG. That is just as bad in conference. They can just have anemic offenses, and really the only thing that between Boston College, Georgia Tech, NC State, the only thing that any of them does particularly well is NC State doesn't turn the ball over. That's probably about the best thing I can say. So I'll go those three. And there is not a chance in hell that I'm taking a future on a team to win a conference at minus 130. So Duke will not get $1 of my money.
Oh man!
Under no circumstance, and it has nothing to do with Carolina. I mean, it just has to do with the fact that minus 130 is just terrible value for a 15-team conference, especially when we've seen some of the struggles that Duke has had recently, most notably, on Coach K night. So if you're going to make me take I don't usually bet minus 130 for bets, period, like even singles. So you're going to ask me to take Duke to go through the whole conference tournament? No way.
Well, some people love their 3-team parlays at minus 135. That's right in their sweet spot spin. So it might not be for you. It could be for some people. We'll get into easiest pass and all that type of stuff. Steven, who are you crossing off from the list to win the ACC?
I'm crossing out the bottom 8. Those bottom 8 teams to me just do not have it. The last team that I think
Syracuse has it for you then.
No. Syracuse is in the bottom 8. I'm cutting it
9.
at Virginia. Yeah, Virginia is the last team I could even remotely trust, just because of the way they run defense. In conference tournaments like this, if their offense isn't playing, or if their offense isn't playing well, like guess what? They're just going to make the game super gross and keep it super low scoring and give themselves a chance to win it at the end. I think all these other teams just have like not like the kill streaks like we were talking about, but they just have parts of their game that will prevent them from having a chance at winning the conference. Like Syracuse, their defense hasn't been good enough at any point this year. Florida State doesn't shoot the 3-ball consistently enough, and I know they have size, but the defense is average at points, and if they're not shooting the 3, they're going to be dead against whoever they play. And then all the teams playing in the first round, Pitt is just overall bad. Boston College doesn't have it yet. Georgia Tech, same thing after that run they had last year. This is just not a good team. Louisville has essentially just quit on the season since before Chris Mack got fired, actually. And then North Carolina State has 2 shooters, but no defense. Clemson, if PJ Hall is not playing a very good game, I don't see Clemson winning. So I think this is I think there's 7 teams that have a chance in this tournament.
So let me hear it from you. Who are you crossing off your list? Who do you not want to back to win the ACC? You can't say Duke.
Oh, Lord.
I'm kidding. You can say Duke if you want, because I know you don't like your minus odds either.
I don't like Duke. It's not difficult to get me to say that. I don't know, man. This is it's a tournament that at times has parity. I think Steven was the one who just mentioned Georgia Tech making that crazy run last year. It's matchup driven 100%. Some teams simply can't match up with others in the ACC. That's part of the game. And then you throw in a Syracuse who always either fare great or wet or terrible in a tournament setting, because if that zone is working and they're hitting threes, they can beat anyone. Miami, another team that has proven that they can play with anybody in the conference. I don't think I would touch Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame's got one really good player, who I didn't know was that high on draft boards. Wow. but I think they're a team that I think they're one and done. I think Notre Dame is a team that's out of all of them, simply because of their performance on road games and on neutral sites. Not good. Great at home. Great at home. So I'm not high on Notre Dame at all.
So I can't really argue with most of the teams. Duke at minus 135. That's kind of a tough one. I think there's better ways to attack that. What our man Ben has said, the ACC Player of the Year is on the bubble team. And this is kind of where Steven also said Georgia Tech made the run last year. I'm trying to find the team that could make the run. It seemed like Wake and Forbes could do it, but I just don't think it's there yet. Forbes' second year or first year there with the ACC Tourney. I just don't think he's going to be the one to do it. And there's another reason, because if we're going to get to our long shots shortly, Wake Forest has lost to the team twice that they're slated to go up to. And you know that with me, that probably means Miami's going to get through it. So from teams I wouldn't want to back, it's a tough argument to make just because you would have to have any play-in team. I can see a way that Virginia Tech runs it. I can see a way that UVA could run it. Teams I really can is Georgia Tech. It's going to be tough with only DeVoe there, but Pastner has shown it before that he could run it with. He just have a big guy. There's no way he could run it. But opening round games, that's about it. Any other team, you can make a flyer. Florida State is one team that none of us have mentioned. So are we all writing them off, even though they're getting healthy, maybe at the right time?
I don't know. I might back them to win a game. I don't know if I can back them to do much more because I think it was Steven that mentioned it. They just don't shoot well enough or consistent enough for me. Their offense, even at full health, has just had periods where they are just can't generate good shots. Are taking these long two fadeaway jump shots that have really no chance of going in. So if I'm going to back a team, especially at these odds, for me, there's just better. For me, I mean, yeah, the plus 7,000 or whatever it is great, but I would actually rather like if I'm going to take a team up in that range, I'd rather take Syracuse and Florida State, just because of their ability to shoot and knock down the three, which can be the great equalizer in a conference tournament like this.
Yes, sir. So I got Twitter up. Make sure to be having your comments there. We're getting a lot of good ones on YouTube. We're not neglecting you on Twitter. I have it up now. I can shout out anything that you guys are saying from that wise. Do we want to say easiest path before we go to long shot? Is there a team that you think has the easiest path to win it out right here?
I hate to say it, but I do think Duke has the easiest path, just because you're either playing a bad shooting team in Florida State or a team that doesn't really play defense in Syracuse. Then you're going up against a Miami team or a Wake Forest team. Wake Forest just hasn't ever really had a lot of success against Duke. And while Miami has had more success, they have the guards. I don't think they have the big men to match up in the post in a tournament game. And then that would bring them to conference championship game against, I would say, either North Carolina or Virginia. I mean, North Carolina would be a problem for them, but if we're just talking about path to get to the championship, I do think Duke has a super easy path.
Damn, Steven does not respect when another team wins outright against the other team earlier in the season. Even though that happens, it's still an easy path. Spin. Do you think anyone has an easy path here? Because at this point, with how much of a toss-up I see it is, and that's what the odds say, I don't know if anyone has an easy path.
No, I have to agree with Steven here. It's Duke for me. I just see that whoever they would match up with in their first game between Florida State and Syracuse, I think that Duke just has some extreme matchup advantages. Different types of matchup advantages against either team, but just some really, really heavy matchup advantages either way in that first game. I don't see Miami or Wake Forest posing any real challenge for them. So I just, for me, the only thing that I can see, if Wake Forest is hot shooting, I could see them maybe giving them a game, but Wake Forest just turns the ball over way too much, can play too careless, can play too too loose. You want your teams playing loose in a conference tournament, a do or die situation like this, but just a little too loose for my blood. So I would have to concur with Duke.
So you got anything on the easiest path? You like UNC's route where they really don't have to face UVA or Notre Dame, Virginia Tech?
They really went out on a limb picking the number 1 seed, didn't they?
Yeah.
I mean, but yeah, they're supposed to have the easiest road, and they are. But they aren't. But and we'll get to the end. Yeah, it's definitely Duke as far as an easy path with the first game. To say like that's what you're saying. The question is who has the easiest path.
Yeah.
Like so if you answer
that's why I said Duke.
It's clearly Duke, right? Because and then also I think part of it's perception for the general public, like because Duke finished first in the conference, they have arguably the best player, you know what I mean, best draft pick, Coach K, all this other stuff, and the semantics go into it, right? But I think that teams have competed with this Duke team to another level that I would be a little bit uncomfortable with. You know what I mean? Based on the talent they have, they've let quite a number of teams like hang in there with them and play them tough, even though their record says different, right? Because they've been, but
my reason why I can't say Duke is they're gonna draw potentially the 3 hardest coaches because they'll get Leonard Williams. They're going to get Boeheim, and they're going to get Larinaga. That's why it's my issue of giving Duke the easiest path because even though these teams aren't to the level, we've seen these 3 coaches coach up these bad squads and get the number 1 seed, no doubt.
It's because
that's kind of just where my has to go down to the bottom side of the bracket. I'm not afraid of UVA whatsoever. I'm not afraid of really Notre Dame that much. So that's where I think UNC and Virginia Tech. I think Virginia Tech might have the easiest path, in my opinion.
See, with Virginia, you see how you said coaches. Like I like.
Well, that's why I think Virginia Tech has it because Bray, sure they'll get him, but they're going to get probably NC State or Clemson. Not that great. They'll get Notre Dame, which I think they can win. They've shown that, and then they're going to get UVA or UNC, and then they'll get Duke in the finals. That's where I think. Yeah. And for my long shots, because if we're talking easiest paths, I'm taking it and Mike Young second year on VT plus 1,300.
I think
that's my long shot of the ACC.
I think part of it too is that I think we're enamored with the talent that Duke has. They're just far and away the most talented team, but that doesn't always equate to you winning the conference tournament. So I completely get what you're saying. I personally don't believe that Duke will win the ACC tournament, but
Yep. My long shot, Virginia Tech plus 1,300. Lost to Clemson last game of the year, and senior day, it is what it is. Lost to UNC, but past that, they rattled off. It was 10 wins in that stretch of 12. So I'm going to be rocking with Vatech at plus 1,300. Who else has a long shot that they're backing here? Because it's basically, if you're not taking Duke, you're taking a long shot. Then we can reveal our semis, and that's probably how we can get into more banter, more individual game matchups. But who has a long shot?
Well, my long shot, and for long shot, I'm just going to go with a team that doesn't have a double bye. I have to go with Virginia. I think this is a down team for them compared to what they've had the last couple of years, but they're just built to win tournament games, I think. Because that's the only problem I have with North Carolina. I think they're good. Their defense hasn't been like good enough. I think sometimes your offense can make you have good performances and look good throughout the regular season when you're putting up high scores and you're just running up and down the court. But I think when you get into a one-game scenario like that, defense can usually tend to win out when it comes down to a situation like that. And I think Virginia is still the best defense in this conference. And they're going up against some teams that play pretty good offense, not the best defense. So for my long shot, I would take the Cavaliers to make a run.
Spin. I know you might disagree with saying UVA is the best defense in the conference there, since you're a stats guy. Because if I look up, I still think Duke and Wake technically have the top 1 and 2 defense in the conference, even though how ugly UVA makes it. I just think it's a UVA down here. But, Steven, I can't disagree with you because when we get to my brackets, I do have UVA beating UNC. So, Spin. Do you have a long shot for us?
Yeah.
I know you're not backing Duke, so you have one.
No, mine was actually Virginia Tech as well. I think
Let's
that for me, but for me, it was more process of elimination, to be quite honest with you, because if I think Duke has the easiest path, I cross off the top half of the bracket. I would agree with Sosa on Notre Dame. I don't think that Virginia is going to be able to generate enough offense, and I don't think that this is a year where their defense is so strong where it can just carry them. So if I'm crossing those teams off, then I'm Tech and with North Carolina. And for the value, I would rather have Tech at plus 1,300 than North Carolina at plus 700.
We just have to swallow that. They could hit 100 threes against us and they'd be done in a minute, but they can defend the 2 in conference play. Top 4 in that pace, they top 4 and 2-point offense as well, and 3rd and 3-point offense. So their biggest thing in conference play was they couldn't defend the 3. And they can't get to the free throw line. That was about it. But I like the way their path sets up. Sosa, do you have a long shot for us?
Who's the head coach at Virginia Tech?
Mike Young.
Okay. Just checking. Keep you on your toes here.
Man, you watched the SoCon game today? They hyped up about how the SoCon's the best stepping stone conference for to become the next big coach. What an
ending. What a fucking ending to that game. Jesus.
My wallet wasn't too happy with it.
Right, but it's
March. That was awesome. I'm glad Chattanooga got there. I told the guys to take the money line if they wanted it safer because we need to see Malachi win one for us in the conference tourney. But Sosa, is there a long shot that you're backing, or are you just staying away from?
I believe North Carolina wins it at plus 750. We dominate the boards. We're built like the North Carolina teams that win stuff like this. We're going to get a bunch of shots up. We're going to get a bunch of offensive rebounds, a bunch of defensive rebounds, and we're going to hit enough threes to get out of there a winner. That win against Duke can be one of two things. It can be a catapulting force, or it could be a means for an extreme and utter letdown. Like it's one or the other. When shit like that happens, it's one or the other. It can either catapult you to the next place, or you show up to wherever this games are being played and get clapped. So I believe North Carolina's the move. I like the Virginia Tech call, but something about just their they have these crazy moments of inconsistency and it's just because they have talent. Virginia Tech's got talent and they have guards that can get it done, but it's the inconsistency just blows. It's insane to me. I can trust North Carolina. Like I said earlier, I don't trust Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame's a huge pretender. I don't like them on anywhere but their home court. Obviously, we were talking about Virginia. Obviously, Tony Bennett is that guy. Defensively, he's always has his troops ready. He always has smart basketball players that are ready to execute the game plan on both sides of the ball. But again, Spin hit it on the head. Can they sustain offense for stretches to keep them in games, even if they do have elite defense? Because when the other team is more talented, that ain't gonna work. So I do believe that. So that's my firm belief. It would be in that order too. It would be North Carolina, Tech, Virginia. If I were sprinkling on high odds,
you're a betting man.
Absolutely.
So we do have opening odds out for some of the – Steven, you can add yourself back in when you're good for the opening games tomorrow because you got Georgia Tech at Louisville, basically a pick 'em here. I was hoping to hopefully get that +3 on Georgia Tech to get there because they have a lot more to play for. But still, I don't know. Louisville could make that interesting. You have Clemson laying 5.5 against NC State. That one could just be trappy if PJ Hall doesn't play. And then you have Pitt at BC also at that 2 pick'em line. Does anyone like some opening odds? Because we do got 15 people with us. You can even go over under. Does anyone like any early odds for tomorrow before we get into any other matchups that we want to break down before our semis and the finals?
I mean, maybe the BC Pitt under like 130 right now would. I mean, just that first game of the day. Nope. I mean, okay, all right, fine. Here, I'll just give out my dumb brain reasoning on why I think this might happen. But before we hear the real stats on why this game's going to be like 75-75. I mean, just having that first game of the tournament, I feel like teams can come out a little bit cold from the floor. I mean, neither team scores all that well to begin with. I mean, the defenses, they're not great, but they're not terrible. Like, at least they know how to not give up 80 every night. And I don't see enough star players that could go off and put up big games that would get this game to go over.
Oh yeah, you thought I was shaking my head at you. No, I was reading the text, dog.
No, I'll go with BC here to cover this. I'm not necessarily convinced by watching anything that Pitt has done the entire year that in a conference tournament game like this, with the way that they shoot typically, also with the way that they turn the ball over, they're close to last in the ACC. And for those of you that have been watching more than one of these, you absolute key metrics for success in a conference tournament. So when you're laying a number like that, I'll take BC here. That's probably the only look that I would have with those opening round games. The NC State, like I don't even want to touch that game.
Well, look, I mean, PJ Hall played 14 minutes in the last game. That's kind of just why was it only 14? Minutes restriction to get them back, to get them ready for this long run that they're going to get into. I don't know. It's kind of at this point right now, NC State's defense is just that leaky that the over 142.5 would be my strongest play, just given the fact that I wanted Georgia Tech a flat +3 there. I was hoping for some reason we get that outrageous number. We did not. So if you had to give me a play, I'd have to take the over just because NC State can't stop a nosebleed at this point. All right. Is there Miami, Wake Forest we want to break down? Florida State, Syracuse. Those are really the only 2 matchups that I could see us going into depth before we reveal our semis and finals.
I mean,
we have to talk FSU Syracuse. We can't get through that without the 8-9 because I think that's probably one of the best matchups of the whole conference tournament.
Yeah, it's obvious. See, the thing is, I think Syracuse walks. I think Syracuse just walks him down, man. And I love Leonard, but I just don't think it's his year. I think the biggest issue for Florida State is that they've had a bunch of NBA players leave, and it's just Leonard's in a year where he needs to refresh the coffers, if you may, with more talent. Just a rough year for him. They'll make the NIT. But I think Boeheim and Sons Concrete Company gets this one done. You know what I mean? Like the guy's out there with his 2 kids. I think Syracuse could be one of them teams that make a run. They got to get through the first game though. They're like one of those teams. Like if they win the first game, you know what I mean.
Well, if they lose the first game, they obviously can't win another one.
No, they just got to just win the first one and then just It's not even funny.
No, I have to in this matchup here. I have to go with Florida State. I'm just buying into the team that's getting hot at the right time, and it's one fact. It's because Polite has came back in the past 3. The fact that they're able to beat UVA Then they beat Notre Dame and NC State. Even though how low we are in Notre Dame and NC State and our things, I'm just going to back the team that is just hotter at the right time, and I just can never root for Boeheim and Sons at this aspect. I think Florida State, the line isn't up yet. They'll open as 3 or 3.5 point dogs. So tune in to Wednesday on Daily Bread because I already know I'll be taking the Florida State money line.
Yeah, I'd lean towards Florida State too, just because they've been such a streaky team. Like they were bad real early in the year. Then they went on a real hot run for 2 or 3 weeks. And then they were down losing to pretty much anybody again for another 2 weeks. I think they're getting back into a groove where they're starting to get hot with wins in 3 out of their last 4, or they're on a 3
No, they won
win.
3
Yeah, they're on a 3-game streak right now. And
You know how
I think this should be Boeheim's retirement tour as well. Just let your last year of coaching be the year with your 2 sons, and then get out of here because the game passed him by. We know that it's over for him.
He got to get those wins back that he lost. Duh.
Bro, if he wants to do that, he'll be coaching until he's like 125.
Yeah, so Jim Boeheim is on my Mount Rushmore of least liked coaches. He's up there with Sean Payton and a few others. So never liked Jim Boeheim, never liked Syracuse. But the one thing that I will say is if you go back historically, he typically does have good offensive performances in the first round of ACC tournaments. So
because they're ranked so low, because they sucked all year.
Yeah, no, I'm not disagreeing, but I'm saying that I think it's like 5 of the last 7 years, they put up 72 plus in the first round. So the look that I would look for once the line come out is I would look for a Syracuse team total over here. I would also look for a full game over on this one, even though I know I just spent a few minutes ago talking shit about Florida State's offense. But I think just the way that Syracuse typically approaches these ACC tournaments is that it would just breed an environment that would be conducive for an over. So
I mean,
that's where I would look.
And the last part, just to wrap up my thoughts on Syracuse, and then we'll give out our semis and then our finals, who we think is going to win it. They've lost 4 of their last 6. And then if you go back to their last 4 wins, it's Georgia Tech, Boston College, Louisville. Then if you want to go further, it's NC State. They just haven't beaten anybody since January. That's my biggest issue with Syracuse. They legitimately haven't beaten anyone since Syracuse. And what's their best win in ACC play this year? They beat Pitt, Clemson, Wake, NC State, Louisville, Boston College, Georgia Tech. That's their only wins in the ACC this year.
Yeah, it'd have to be the Wake game. That'd have to be the best win, but even that's not saying a ton.
That's my only issue. This could be where Boeheim was just like, man, we're just playing you. We're sleeping this whole season. We're going to get hot at the right time because the zone can just – Florida State can struggle with the zone. They don't have the shooters to outshoot it, and they give up the 3 at an extremely high rate. Florida State has it this year. So Syracuse can, as Sousa said, doll walk them and make him not an issue. But we've seen teams get into the middle of the zone a little bit better than as of recent. It's just – that's why I wanted to talk about this game a little bit more in detail, because I think it's going to be sneaky good back and forth. And to what's been said, if you just want to take the over, I could easily see a 150. So if it's under 145, I would think it's like almost an auto bet.
One thing we know though, this one makes it like this is why we would want to watch this. If you play Syracuse, you're going to get wide open shots. It's a matter of if you make them or not. And I mean, you're going to get a bunch of wide open looks because you know what they're throwing at you the whole game. It's a 2-3 all game.
And Florida State went 12 for 20 in that game from deep.
That's right. So you know, it's all but – and also, I just want to say this real quick. This is how you know Rex does not fuck with Jim Boeheim. He won't even say his name right.
Picks his nose. Loser. Boeheim. I like to say things phonetically, all right?
Whatever the fuck that means.
All right, who wants to reveal their semis, or do we want to talk Miami Wake?
Are we sure it's going to be Miami Wake, though?
You have Pitt or BC beating Wake?
Well, I mean, I don't really, but anything can happen, bro. They got to play the game still. If Wake's thinking how you're thinking, and they're just getting ready for the Miami game, like
now I'm shaking my head at you for real.
No.
Nah.
My
I
powers.
guess we can't. I mean, I'd take Wake Forest in that game personally. Almost like I think they're very similar teams, but I think Wake Forest having a game beforehand, it's just one of those spots where the team that's already played can come out hotter than the team that's on more rest. So I think if Wake goes up in the first half, I think they'll play even in the second half. I think it just comes down to if Wake is able to start out the game hot and build a lead, then they can just hold it and win in the second half. Like I don't really see this game flipping and having a big run in the second half for whoever's down.
Anyone else got any thoughts on it? Because if not, I'm going to lead into the semis with it.
This is another game where I would probably look at the over as well. That would be.
All right. So let's reveal our semis and then get into who we have winning it all. So in my semifinals, I have Duke beating Florida State to get to it. And then I have Miami beating Wake Forest and beating Duke. Miami's beating Wake, and both of the games they beat Duke, and the only time I think Larinaga is just going to catch heat. So I have Miami going to the finals on that side. And then on the bottom half, I got to have Virginia Tech beating Notre Dame since I got the plus 1,300 future. I have UVA beating UNC, so I got pure chaos going on here. Virginia Tech playing Miami, and I got Va Tech winning it. That's the reason why I'm taking the plus 1,300. I think Miami needs to be my team of chaos up top, and Virginia Tech can do the rest as needed.
All right. Yeah, mine is, I guess it's somewhat similar. So I do have Duke and Miami in my one semi, but I do have Duke winning that game. And in my other one, I have Virginia Tech. I have them beating Clemson. I have them beating Notre Dame. And I have them beating North Carolina. And I have Virginia Tech winning the entire thing. So obviously my final North Carolina, Va Tech, and champion would be the lowest seeded out of all of those, Va Tech.
Oh, man, two of us picked Va Tech. They might be the instant fade now. Steven, who's yours before we let the ACC guru Sosa tell us who he's got?
Yep.
You already know who he has.
Don't ever call me that again.
I'm taking Duke and Wake Forest in the top half. Well, I do think Virginia Tech is a good matchup for Notre Dame. Something about this Notre Dame team just going from being one of the bottom teams in the conference to now being in the NCAA tournament. Something about this just feels like it could be not necessarily their year, but the year they make the most noise. So I will take Notre Dame to get to the semis. Then I said Virginia was my long shot, so I got Virginia over North Carolina. I think Virginia's defense does it to Notre Dame too, so I got them in the final playing. Yeah, I got to give it to Duke. I want to say Wake Forest. I love what Wake Forest has this year, but can't take them. I just can't do it. And then I'm going to go with the other team from Virginia and just take I'm just going to take Virginia to win the whole thing. I don't know, man. There's no numbers that are telling me I should do that outside of the value I can get, but just something about this team. I'm going to take them to go on a run.
Well, if anyone's an anti-Virginia fan, it's not a good show for them so far. Sosa, bring it home, and please don't pick a Virginia team.
Oh, yeah, I picked Virginia teams to lose.
Who do you have in the semis?
I like Storm Murphy and everything, but I have North Carolina, I believe, playing Notre Dame. Or no.
Yeah.
No. I have Notre Dame losing their first game.
To Vatek. Let's go.
Yeah, I have Notre Dame losing their first game to Vatek. I have North Carolina beating Vatek. But like I said, it's a battle of the boards. At this point in the year, I want either dynamic guards, or if I'm not picking the most talented team, I want the team that's going to get me the most second and third opportunities and win me the free throw battle.
Yeah, I need UVA to take down UNC for the Vatek to come through, because if not, it could get ugly.
Because the only way, and Virginia would be, I think, your only hope, to be totally honest, until the final. Because I just think that in order at this point, the way that this North Carolina team is clicking, and again, I said it earlier, this game, that win against Duke, it's either going to be a catapulting force, or they're going to get clapped up by somebody they're not supposed to. It's one or the other. They're either going to ride the wave to the finish line, or they're going to flame out fast. I like them to ride the wave to the finish line and win the tournament.
Then I think top, who do you got?
But I also don't think they play Duke. I think Duke loses in the semis.
To who, Miami or Wake?
I like Miami. I love Larinaga. He has a history of doing this. We actually talked about him earlier, and earlier in the season. I remember on Daily Bread, we were just like, one, the fact that his son was being considered for the Celtics job. I don't know how. And him always every like 5 years or so, or a few years on the job, he just has a team that just figures it out. And they fit a tournament setting, So I like Miami and North Carolina in the final. I like North Carolina to win the whole thing. I just think that it's been a progression of a season, and we've just progressed to the final part of being a team that's good. Whereas you're looking for an identity all year, and then you seal it with the win against Coach K. I think that's the trajectory at this point, in my opinion.
Yeah, with my finals being Miami Vatek, and they're both being at plus 1,300 on FanDuel, I was really tempted to do 2 plays on it, just to get one team up top and one team in the bottom. And it's definitely something in not many conference tournaments I would advise against it. But if you really, as you're soul capping what you go through, if you don't think Duke has a minus 135 chance, which off the top of my head spin is like 63% chance to win it all. If you truly don't believe they have around that win percentage, pick a team from the bottom and pick a team from the top and throw lunch $10 on it. It'll be a fun little sweat that you can do. I just think if it's the best conference tournament that we are going to preview, that gives you the highest odds to get a nice little return if you truly don't think Duke deserves to win it. But his last year, the refs couldn't even get them home at home. It could just be they're just going to hand Duke the time now, and the refs are going to be on their side.
Well, and to your point, Rex, if we are saying that, let's just say Clemson through NC State just has no shot, like we've been talking about, if you did put, let's just say $10 on every team from Notre Dame on down to Syracuse, and you totally discounted.
I don't know why you hesitate.
You don't win money by doing that as if Duke wins the whole thing. You can take it's 8 against 1, and your guaranteed profit, unless Duke doesn't win, it would cost you $80. That would be something that I would look at. So that's kind of like what you were saying, Rex, on steroids, is that I would just take every team on down until you don't think that anyone more can win. And if you're going to get it at the odds that it's at now, you make money. The only way you don't make money is if Duke wins.
Wild method. Can't disagree with it. That's a lot. I mean, you're not going to profit a lot of money, but
are y'all watching this Gonzaga game?
No, we're focused on the ACC, man.
Bro, they were up by 24. They're up by 11. 9.
The Don, let's go. Oh, shit. No,
man.
No, now let's go. Shit, never mind.
What the fuck?
Now I remember why. Not let's go, Don. Sorry. I had to get my fandom out of there for a second, even though I'm not a huge Don's guy. But that is the ACC. We appreciate everyone who tapped in with us. We got some longer shot odds for you to be tailing. We kind of previewed the opening day matchups, which are tomorrow. So be tapped into Daily Bread. We'll be going live before the ACC games tip off. So if you need any plays, we got you covered on that front. We just got done the Big Ten with their guys Goose and D-Rock. So definitely be sure to checking out that Big Ten one. That doesn't tip till Wednesday, so you can save it for tomorrow night, tomorrow during work, whenever you need it there. Goose didn't pick Rutgers, so that's all I can really say. Make sure to give us a like. Make us to give sure a subscribe. I'm not going to trust Hubie in his first ACC tournament, so they'll